WTL.
It's time!
WTL.
I think we got a show. Oh, yeah, we got a show.
WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
Jeremy Odem.
J.O.
J.O.
Oh. And how about the old Huskers last week winning a one-score game?
Isn't that different?
Yeah.
That felt good.
It did.
Like, I went to bed Thursday night like a baby. Just slept like a baby.
Well, I went to bed Friday morning, but you kind of it's still dark out. It's still dark out. But no, what an experience. Obviously, I got to go to the game and be a part of the broadcast and the coverage for NCN. It was an electric atmosphere. I said that 100 times. But you could feel the air get sucked out of the stadium, out of Arrowhead on that final drive.
Late in the fourth again.
And we had the patented penalties, the whole 9 yards. It was just like, here we go. Take it, boys, take it. And Cincinnati played their part. They're like, no, we're not playing for a tie. We're going for the win. And when that ball was in the air, everyone was just holding their breath. And then Hartzog just came out of nowhere. He played it perfectly for that interception. And then the party was on.
Well, yeah, then the energy matched the rest of the game because we talked a little bit about how what's the atmosphere going to be like being away from Memorial Stadium. Was it better? I mean, it
was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it was
wild.
Every bit as loud, I would say, especially at some spots. Right before kickoff, it was just thundering. Arrowhead did not disappoint, and I've already heard some murmurs and some people saying, well, maybe we should just make that an annual thing. Have a game at Arrowhead against an old Big 8 opponent.
Right.
Like, it's doable, but we got to figure out the money.
Yes.
And it's like, if that's all that's in the way, seems to be a lot of money now in college football. So,
and it does look like Cincinnati came out handedly in the money side, like 4 times what they normally would have a home game. So kudos to them on that.
Yeah.
But we'll take the dub.
Exactly. They got paid. We got the W. So I will say, I was thinking over that had no chance the way that Cincinnati decided to play defense, the 3 over the top. I think that there was only twice where they got caught in only a 2-man or 2 over the top, and they didn't have a middle safety rover. And on one of those 2, Raiola did have his longest pass.
There you go.
So that's why they played that cover 3 the entire game, and daring us to just make the routine play.
Yeah.
To Nebraska's credit, they did for the most part. Came away with the win. It did make me think of my favorite bet last week was taking Nebraska in the first half, and they did. They covered the first half.
Yep.
I didn't feel as good as covering the 6.5 or 7 if that's what you had to settle for, but they did cover the 3.5 in the first half.
It's so funny because the 2 most stressful points of the game for me, was at the end of the first half because I'm telling my son, if we don't cover this half, I'm nervous.
Yep.
And we did cover. We were celebrating like we just won the game.
Oh, yeah.
And then of course, then at the end of the game, it's like, all right, well, we're not going to cover to win this game. Like we're not going to cover the 7.
No.
Let's just come out with the W.
Please,
come on, guys. Come on.
Give us the win. Well, I felt really good about the 7 when we got that late touchdown, but then they just marched right back down the field. Like, what was that, like a 2.5, 3 minute drive?
Immediately,
like, just boom. And then I'm like, oh, no, it's a game. Why does it have to be a game?
Yeah. Well, the quarterback was for Cincinnati. Was everything we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
So, no, it was a good matchup.
It's one of those things where I get it, but I don't get it. We've heard all along where Nebraska has trouble with a quarterback that's mobile, that can run, that can extend plays. They also got trouble with defenses that are offenses that play with pace, like a hurry up like you see across the Big 12. Cincinnati was all those things. It's like, well, then adjust. I don't know. Like, do something.
You know what they're coming with.
Yeah. Like, and to get gashed as many times. And the coaching staff for Nebraska reflected that in all their pressers this week. They were, the word that kept coming up was surly.
Right.
They were surly, and for good reason. I think the boys are going to get coached up pretty hard this week. Or they had been. So let's move forward to this week's home opener.
Oh, it just gets better and better.
The Zips scored zip against Wyoming last week. Got shut out, but only lost 10-0 on the road. Nebraska is a massive favorite here. 34.5 is the consensus line I'm looking at right now. You also got a total sitting at 47.5, 48 on some books, and it's getting bet quite heavily. Like Husker Nation is not backing off.
Eating it up, yes. No, this game looks like it's set up for us to be able to continue the party.
Yeah,
the home opener. As far as like the line goes, I mean, it's high.
Yeah,
Nebraska hasn't in the last 2 seasons been a team that covers a lot,
right?
But they were 4-0 last season against the spread against non-conference opponents.
Okay,
that is something that stuck out to me because there wasn't many of those wins over losses that were positive in the betting side. So I did like that, and I thought that was probably the bet that stuck out the most to me. And you know what? The offense is probably wanting to showcase something this week.
Right. So I go back and forth on this point spread and the total as well because there's 2 sides to this coin, and they both make a lot of sense to me. First off, I agree with you. The offense should have some opportunities here to just ball out. I think they're going to want to in front of the home crowd. They got to run the ball, and they're going to want other backs, 2 backups that really want to get in there. And if they run the ball heavily, and it really looked like Akron was vulnerable up the middle against Wyoming, Nebraska should be able to capitalize on that. Once you get that running game opened up, then that open up some passing lanes.
Right.
Okay. And everyone's talking about it's not an explosive offense. Well, that had to do with Cincinnati playing that 3 over the top the entire game and being so disciplined. So I do think there's a path for Nebraska to cover this. I also look at it as, well, Cincinnati showed Akron, who's a pretty talented defense.
Yeah.
Here's your blueprint.
Yeah,
if you want to stay within a couple scores, go 3 over the top. Dylan Raiola is smart enough. He's disciplined enough. He will take the check down. I love that about my quarterback. But that's also not going to get me the over, and we probably won't cover. We'll win comfortably, I would say. But neither of those things are on the table. The more I look at this, the more I'm leaning towards the under and Akron covering.
I love that you said that because I just gave you that stat of non-conference 4-0 against the spread, right, last season. Nebraska was 0-4 against non-conference hitting the over.
Ooh.
So that speaks to everything you just said.
Yeah.
At the same time, last week we saw our lead back be the only back, it felt like at times.
Yeah.
And with, the coach saying, oh, well, there's no concerns at running back. And then, that caused me to be like, oh, we have concerns now.
Right.
He's the only back. We have to see some depth there.
Yeah.
And we have to give him a breather. And we've got to be able to open up some passing lanes. So they all work hand in hand.
So even that's a double-edged sword. So if you're going to be bringing in multiple running backs, maybe you're not getting to such a flow. And there must have been a reason why we didn't see any depth show itself. I know all the coaches were surly about it, and they want to get more guys in at running back. But Emmett Johnson was your bell cow. He got 10 targets in the passing game, 7 receptions. And, I always heard, he could catch the ball out of the backfield, but 10 targets?
10 targets.
Oh, my God.
Especially when they said the wide receivers coming in, this was the best group we've had in years.
Yeah.
You just looked for them to be more of it, and the running back would play more of a traditional back. But, yeah, I was kind of surprised by that as well.
Yeah, so I might have to revert back to what I did last week and look at that first half.
Okay.
Because I do think Nebraska will do what they like to do, and that's get off to a hot start, get up on top of them, and then just bleed the thing out. And I'm okay with that as long as Nebraska gets the win and shores up some things on defense. Which it looked to me that a lot of the issues on the defensive line had more to do with just misalignment, and not going 100 miles an hour than it did them not being capable. Like they were coachable. Less
of not being outplayed by Cincinnati line and more of, hey, we just got to kind of tighten some bolts here. Okay.
And I'll tell you this, and it could have been a perception type of thing, but I was walking up the tunnel to get some camera and get some right before the game, get some more equipment, and the Cincinnati team was walking down onto the field, and those guys were big. Yeah. Like they looked big. It reminded me of a game a couple of years ago where the Creighton Blue Jays were heavy favorites over Xavier, and I had pretty nice tickets. I'm down there on the court, and I'm like, Xavier's big.
They're big.
They didn't cover. They beat Creighton at Creighton. So that's what it reminded me of. So my point is Cincinnati's not a pushover.
Right.
So I do think there has to be something said for that was a Power 4 conference and a Power 4 defense just doing their thing. Do you have a favorite bet when it comes to this game?
You know what? I'm going to take the under and feel really comfortable with it.
Okay.
Particularly because of the past of not being able to hit the over against non-conference opponents, partly because of the offense we saw last week.
Yeah.
I still have way too many question marks.
Right.
But no, the under is my favorite. I do think we're going to cover.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
All right. Wow.
Akron, and this is a stat I just saw. Michael Severe just threw this stat out this afternoon on Twitter. He said Akron, the last 6 of the 7 games versus Power 4 conference, outscored 301-39.
Jeez.
Correct.
Oh,
so they're not exactly hanging with the boys, but they certainly take them on. So
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and limiting Wyoming to 10 points, that's one thing. Trying to limit the Big Red at Memorial Stadium, that could be a whole nother monster there. I'm totally on board with you with the under. I'm second guessing myself on the 34.5, 35. Oh, man. And if it gets bet, I'll tell you this. If it gets bet up something wild like 37, 36.5, I think I will go with the under. So I'm going to watch that line like a hawk up to kickoff. Obviously, have to drive out of state,
Sure.
Can't bet on home team.
Bet on the Huskers here at home.
So I'll just have to skip over to Iowa or something to get that done.
How do you feel about giving your money to Iowa?
Well, we're winners. So I'm always collecting.
You're always looking to help donate.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.
WTL. All he does is work out and hit runners. 10 and 2, 85% weekend. You're a mutant. WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen. I'm joined by
J.O.
J.O. I can't wait till when we get around December. You can really get into that.
Oh yeah, I'll be growing into Santa Claus eventually. Yeah, we're gonna really work into it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna say back by popular demand, you had a segment you started helping us out with last year called the Bottom 5.
Absolutely.
And you started that as like not a blog, but an article that you wrote, and then it turned into kind of a part of your podcast, or you started a whole new podcast with it. I just thought it was awesome. And I'm like, you know what? Within the bottom 5 teams of the NFL, there's probably 5 really good bets, right? Whether they're gonna give it up, they're gonna cover. The point spread's way out of whack. This is the NFL. There shouldn't be a 25 point spread in the NFL. There's some value there. And so you helped us find that value. So we're going to bring that back this year with the bottom 5, and you got something cooked up over there.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody wants to talk about the best of the best.
Yeah.
And I'm giving you the bottom feeders. These are the 5 worst teams in the NFL as we head out of the offseason into week 1. And it's not just about wins and losses. It's not all about the talent on the field. Sometimes about the vibes. Okay, the vibes within the fan base.
There you go.
The vibes within the media. We're going to start with number 5, the New York Giants. Okay. This is a football team that's still reeling from over a year ago losing Saquon Barkley, watching him win a Super Bowl this past February, the big-time signing of Daniel Jones, and then the release of Daniel Jones.
Brilliant.
Then the big move this offseason, let's bring on Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That guy's won a Super Bowl. He's going to lead us to the promised land. They're trying to keep Malik Neighbors happy. He's the star of the team. Yeah. He's going to get the volume, I guess, of the production there for New York Giants and keep them relevant. But no, this is a football team that is certainly continuing to be in rebuild mode, and mostly because of mismanagement.
Right.
In a very big market that is puts the pressure on just a little bit. You familiar with New York?
Yeah, as the media capital of the world, is that what's going on here? Like this, the ownership, the management groups, like, oh my God, they said this in the paper, so we got to cut Daniel Jones, even though we just signed him or
Correct.
we re-signed. Is that like? It just seems like, is there too many cooks in the kitchen? But whatever it is, the Giants have been reeling now for 4 or 5 years when they used to be one of the most stable, programs, you could call it, in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, they had Eli Manning for, it felt like 20 years.
Yeah.
And just having him on board, it felt like they could ride a level of relevancy. But here we are. They're still rebuilding they're back to rebuilding Russell Wilson's captain of the ship. But they still got to play football games, and there's still money to win.
Yes,
so,
there is.
They opened the season this year with the Commanders, okay? Last season,
Division foe.
they were 0-2 against the spread versus Washington. Okay. They are playing Washington at home -6.
So a touchdown.
And this is a good Washington team. This is a Washington team that has high hopes for where they're going for this season.
It's true.
This is a New York Giants football team that, you just look at, they don't know what they're doing.
There's still some Russell Wilson fans out there. I feel like you're really giving the short guy the short end of the stick here.
I was just telling a buddy, I was like, man, remember Russell Wilson in those big Seattle years when he had that defense and he could do anything.
Right.
The key there was their defense was elite and he could do anything and he could figure it out, right?
Same could be said for his year in Wisconsin too. That was a magical season, but he had big old hosses in front of him, a stellar defense. When the well's a little dried up and you're supposed to make all these plays, it's a different story.
It's a different story. So give me Washington covering against the Giants -6 week 1. That's my best bet with the New York Giants. Number 4, the New Orleans Saints. This is a football team that is still hurting from the salary cap issues of Sean Payton, Drew Brees era. They are still, their risks are locked.
Is that what it is?
Yes. The salary cap has been a nightmare. It was a nightmare with them, but they were able to have a core of talent.
Sure.
That talent left.
Went to Denver.
Yes.
Just having a good time, in a hookah bar or something.
Sean Payton had the smartest move you could ever make, and that was dip out and say, I'm out of here. I'm going to TV, and eventually Denver Broncos. But the New Orleans Saints are a mess. They lost their starting quarterback, so now they've got Spencer Rattler at quarterback, so inexperience there. They are officially looking for the franchise quarterback for next season. New head coach Kellen Moore instilling a new offense with some guys. I don't like this football team at all.
Nobody does.
And in a division that has Tampa Bay, that has Atlanta, two teams that are feeling pretty good about themselves.
Carolina's a riser.
And Carolina's a riser, so that leaves the Saints at the bottom. So I've got them 4. The vibes are pretty low in New Orleans. Not Katrina low, but it's certainly pretty low in New Orleans. They are opening the season against Arizona. Kyler Murray, sneaky, had a pretty good end of the season last year.
Did.
Okay. The over-under for him for passing yards in week 1 is 223.5. Okay. You get -115 with this one. 8 out of the last 10 games last season, well over 223 yards.
Yeah.
And he was balling out. And this team is a team that has some expectations to do something.
Being a minus money bet tells you right there that they think he's going to get it. So I like that.
So I like it. I think that's the best bet within the week 1 there with the New Orleans Saints. Number 3, your football team, we've talked about them, the Chicago Bears.
There we go.
Primarily because of vibes.
The Bears.
It was a tough go in 2024 for the Bears.
And he has division rivals rolling out cheerleaders and stuff, and somehow he's catching the flack. I'm like, what? X is brutal, man. Twitter is brutal. I'm like, he didn't even do anything. That's Minnesota's bag, but okay.
Hopefully they're bringing their male cheerleaders to Chicago for week 1 on Monday Night Football. But the expectations were fairly high. People were hyping them up. I was one of them. I thought the Chicago Bears were going to be pretty good last year. Certainly that wasn't the case. New coach, new offensive identity, tough division.
Yeah.
And it got tougher with Green Bay.
We talked about it last week. Yeah, Green Bay just shot up another, oh boy.
Whoa, did they get better?
Yeah.
So Chicago Bears, I like them living within kind of this bottom 5. I think I'm going to talk about them quite a bit this season. Love to see Caleb Williams break out of that, but
couple games, I'd say flashes where you're like, okay, there's that USC talent. There it is. But, you got to put it together for week upon week, drive upon drive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Week 1, they are playing at home against the Minnesota Vikings. I've got an anytime scorer on Jordan Mason, new running back for the Minnesota Vikings. He came from San Francisco. Remember last year he was taking over for Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
He's not very elusive at all, but he's really good at the goal line, which is something you really want when you're playing a physical football game, and I believe that's what it's going to be Monday night in Chicago. I like him anytime scorer, plus 170, showcasing what he can do on Monday night against the Chicago Bears.
Well, I do think the Bears are going to give up a rushing touchdown, and he looks like your guy. So, all right, let's move on up the list.
Number 2, the Cleveland Browns, and we've talked at length about them. They are already focused on the 2026 with 10 draft picks, 2 in the first round. The defense is okay, but obviously we know what the defense is good, but the offense is a mess. We know what they've got with Joe Flacco at QB1. Very tough division. They are playing the Cincinnati Bengals week 1. Ooh. I like the over in that football game. That's my best bet in this game at 47.5, primarily because I think Cincinnati is going to be on fire to start this season, trying to make up for the last 5 seasons of starting 0 and whatever to start.
Right?
So
they do that every year.
What a way to start the year if you can go and beat up a division opponent like the Cleveland Browns. So I like Cincinnati here at the over.
And I've also heard about, Cincinnati folks saying that they're worried about their defense. So their defense could actually help you get to that over.
Right.
So you got the Cincinnati defense that has some question marks, early game jitters, whatever you want to call it, lack of talent. And then Cleveland's Cleveland.
And then who won't be jittery? Joe Flacco. He's done this a million times.
Right.
So, there you go. He's going to get a score here and there maybe you wouldn't expect. So
Joe's like, well, what's the worst could happen? I go back to my couch. I love my couch.
Inexpensive couch, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1, this is the worst team in the NFL as we head into week number 1. That would be the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, boy.
Now, remember, I told you.
Come on.
I told you. Come on. It is not all about the play on the field. Sometimes it's about the vibes. Are you telling me this football team had a better offseason than any other team in the league?
If you're going off vibes, those are some pretty... The vibe is down.
The vibe is down. The vibe is down. And you would have thought, here's a team that's got Micah Parsons leading the defense. That's got Dak Prescott leading the offense. Yep. You got Jerry Jones with this new Netflix documentary. He's so excited. People are excited about Dallas Cowboy football.
Yes.
Nah, everything worked against them. Yep. Micah's gone. He's now in Green Bay.
That's rough. That's rough.
People are now questioning Dak. His weapons didn't get better around him. Jerry, he's looking older by the day.
Yeah. Jerry's was just one of those guys where, when he hears chatter, he listens to it, and then he has to, I feel like he needs to like stomp it out or do the aha or I told you so or it's my toy. It's my toy, So I don't know. Losing Micah Parsons and then calling him Michael. I think he called him.
Didn't even know his name. And if that was on purpose, shame on you. But he didn't know his name. I believe he didn't.
No, he's just like he's another defender. They're a dime a dozen, not a dime a dozen, but he was wrapped up in Dak Prescott and some other guys that he must have just thought a little bit better of than Parsons, which is crazy when you see the production that Parsons brought. And also, it sounds like he was a really good locker room guy.
Yeah.
So
team loved him.
If you're talking vibes, they are down.
And when you watch the doc, you realize Jerry Jones is the guy that traded Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
My best bet in this game, they are opening night, Thursday night against Philly. Yes, I've got Dallas trying to hang with them plus 8.5.
Okay, I'm not going to argue that. The vibes are down in Big D. So, well, let's take a bit to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the linemakers.com. That's our website, by the way, where they don't chase hype. They decode it by applying stock market trends, discipline to live sporting events, treating every wager like an investment. Linemakers.com. They make the line so you beat the book. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.
WTL. Gentlemen, what brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack. WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, and we are excited to have back on the program Rod Vermilio with GSBN, the best sports gambling network out there. Rod, thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me as always. Hopefully the linesmakers.com website subscribers cashed in week 0, week 1. Our syndicate is 5-1, so we went 5-1 on those syndicate trades for those subscribers. The only loss we had was your Nebraska Cornhuskers not covering the spread. They did win. How was that game being on the sidelines?
Oh, it was fantastic. That interception to ice it and win the game, that happened right in front of me. It couldn't have been a better experience. That may have been louder than some of the home games, and Memorial Stadium gets pretty loud Saturday night. Arrowhead was every bit as loud, and there was quite a bit of red. I was talking to one of the directors for the university, and the last number he got was 92% of ticket sales were to Husker fans. So pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, you guys always travel well, so that's the good news on any of those closer away games. So let's talk about this week's game. We did give a free play Iowa State last week before that game started. We gave that one out for free. That was an outright winner. So hopefully they cashed on that one. That would have given them the money to go ahead and pay for that subscription, and then go 5-1, put some icing on that cake. But this week, you guys home opener against Akron, and Akron hasn't scored a point yet this year. I think they got beat 10-0, and Nebraska, even though they didn't play as well as they'd hoped on the defensive side of the ball, they did hold the Bearcats to under 100 yards passing. So this week's spread minus, what is it, 34?
34 and a half.
Yeah, it's not going to qualify, of course, a spread like that for a syndicate play. But for all the Nebraska fans out there that want my take on what I would play, I'd probably do 2-team 7-point tease. Tease that down, Nebraska minus 27, and take the over 40. So that's my take on that game. I think they as you mentioned, they got lit up this week. Probably in the film room and all week at practice. So yeah. I think they come out. I think they win 49-10, 38-7. So that's the range that we have them at. So take that Nebraska, tease it down to minus 27, and take the over 40.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think they're going to get real aggressive on offense, if for no other reason, build confidence on the offensive side. And the defense didn't record a sack last week against Cincinnati. Yeah, they're a quarterback rushing team, but I think they're going to want to get some more tackles for loss in the way of sacks. So I like the Huskers being aggressive. Home opener, technically. So I like them being real aggressive on both sides of the ball. Do we have any other college football trades that we want to look into here in week 2?
Absolutely. There's 83 games on this weekend, week number 2, but there's one ranked versus ranked. Michigan against Oklahoma. Nothing qualifies there as well for a syndicate trade. I will tell you that we're looking at Illinois. Illinois minus 3. At some places it's minus 3.5. Or minus 2.5. If you can get that at 3 or 2.5, go ahead and take that one. That will be a syndicate trade this week. I won't give all the syndicate trades out because we want to protect the people that are paying subscribers into that website. But also you're going to have Marshall minus 10. We like them to get it done this week, and then. Everybody's sleeping on Rice. Rice covered for us last week, and 14 this week. I think that they're gonna, do well this year, and so that's the 3 that I'll give out in college football for syndicate trades.
Yeah, I really like that. It's 2.5 right now, that Illinois game over Duke on ESPN Bet. We like to base all that being on ESPN radio. We get a lot of lines there if we're not using a local book. That total at 49.5. And yeah, you can pick and choose out of those 83 games, but there are so many wide spreads like Nebraska's 35, 34.5 up and down some of these boards. So it's pretty wild. It's so competitive week 1 and week 0. Week 2 is kind of another ball game as we're talking college football.
Yeah, with only one ranked versus ranked game out there on the board, this is going to be a week. Some of these guys, just getting into, getting their schemes down and the players learning, maybe shaking some of those jitters off for some of those guys that haven't been in that kind of atmosphere. So this week's, there's a lot of lopsided games, but you never know, the way they do the scoring for the rankings, you just never know who's going to get a lot of playing time. And a lot of these teams, next man up mentality, they're playing some of these guys that aren't starters to get them some experience for the later parts of the year.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Rod. I know Nebraska is going to make a concerted effort to get a couple backup running backs in. Our starting running back, Emmett Johnson, touched the ball 32 times, over 20 carries, 7 receptions. He was targeted 10 times through the air. That's way too big of a workload, especially when we get into Big Ten play. So I think you're right. All these college teams, whether they got that huge inflated spread or not, they're going to want to spread the ball around and get some more offensive weapons involved. Got a little bit of time here. Let's dip into the NFL. It's Thursday night. We're going to Big D. Not talking about divorce. We're talking about Dallas. Philadelphia hosting Dallas Thursday night, 7:30 kickoff. Let's see here. I was just looking at it. 8.5. Yep. Looks like the line is holding at 8.5 Philadelphia. But there's some fluctuation. You can shop that around a little bit.
Absolutely. So Vegas had it at 47 on that total, and
Yep.
-7, -8. A lot of the books are fluctuating there. So if you shop that line, you can get that at -7, 7.5. Nothing's going to qualify for a syndicate play this week on that Dallas Philly game, but Dallas, historically comes out really hot in the beginning of the season, beats a lot of teams that everybody doesn't think they're going to win, but then fall flat midway or towards the end of the season. So I like Philadelphia in this spot. I don't know that they'll cover. I just don't see Dallas being strong enough to win that game. I think it's going to be a close game. So you could take the points either way, but let's call it another 7-point tease if you want to put action down on that. Philadelphia, at a pick 'em or -0.5, and go over that total of 40.5.
Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of that similar type of talk where Dallas, people forget they win a lot of games. Over the last 5 years, Dak Prescott and company, they've won a lot of games. And early in the season, those numbers are just through the roof on the offensive side. So I like that over here. In the NFL, unlike maybe in college ball, it does seem like it takes a couple weeks for the defense to catch up rather than the other way around. So I really like that tease there, getting it down, buying some points, and leaning towards Philadelphia. Not too many people out there are picking the Dallas to go on the road and win this opening Thursday night game.
No, I wouldn't put my money on Dallas, but then again, I wouldn't bet against them early in the season, based on their historical performance. But I like the tease, and I think Philly gets it done, but I think it's going to be a close game.
Would you say the over is probably the trade or the bet that you're most confident in?
On that tease, I think it's, a 24-27-24 game or 24-20 game.
Yeah.
They're going to get 45 to 50 points. Both of those offenses are going to want to come out. That's a divisional game as well. So they're going to want to come out and represent. So, and we touched last week's show about some of the other games, the Chiefs Chargers. Really nothing on the syndicate side, but we did give a couple of player props.
Yeah.
We liked Khalil Mack to record a sack. That's plus 150. And then, McConkey over 5.5 receptions for the Chargers. I think he's going to have a decent day against that secondary. So, those are two prop plays, player prop plays that we'll be on. And so that rounds out our free stuff for this week, but it's going to be an exciting week. And, with college and pro, both in action this weekend, a lot of football for the fans.
You better believe it. And I can tell you, Lad McConkey was a hot pick in fantasy football. A lot of people that drafted him love hearing you say take the over on his player prop 5.5 receptions. Rod, thank you so much for joining us once again here on WTL.
Thank you for having me. We'll see you next week.
You better believe it, but let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is thelinemakers.com, where they don't chase hype, they decode it by applying stock market trading discipline to live sporting events, treating every wager like an investment. Thelinemakers.com, they make the line so you beat the book. Don't go anywhere, this is...
Don't be sleeping on that money. Don't be sleeping on that money.
There we go. Rod, don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL.
WTL. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last. WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
J.O.
The J.O. The Laugh With Me podcast. You've been just knocking down some huge milestones over there with that podcast. Well, it's not top 100. You're like top 10 comedy.
Yeah. So in the stand-up comedy genre in Apple and iTunes, we're top 5. And then in entire comedy, you're talking Joe Rogan's, you're talking, some big names.
Yeah.
No, we
Flagrant, those guys.
Yeah, we
Andy Schultz.
rank up in the top 50. So it's been awesome. I mean, we've just reached over 100 episodes, and just this week, we have released 2 brand new episodes. So.
Sweet. Well, you're gonna have to tell Johnny, your producer, job well done, because I know he's
crushing it.
He's keeping it on the rails over there.
My man.
So. What'd you think of Rod? I love listening to that guy talk, because, man, does he really dive into the analytics. And you had to, on his player props that he worked in there, Khalil Mack with a sack, Lad McConkey over 5.5 receptions as far as player props go.
I mean, anytime you're talking Charger football, obviously you're speaking my language. He's a different type of person to talk sports with or listen to, because he's not just working off of his feelings. He has data backing up everything he's saying, and it proves it every single week. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, and congratulations to all of our subscribers or people that went to linemakers.com and bought on that subscription, going 5-1 last week. That only blemish, the Huskers.
Oh, come on, Big Red.
How fitting is that? Come on. No, I'm still happy just getting that opening week win. Week 1 win for Nebraska. That's where I'm at. I'm still a fan. So.
That's the old saying, don't bet on your favorite team.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to break your heart. Yeah.
Is that like meeting your heroes or something like that? Yeah. Okay. So we'll keep that in mind moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, we talked division winners and futures last week. Some NFC North, NFC West. Let's get out to the AFC West, because there's going to be some fireworks. And, oh, by the way, there's 3 returning playoff teams.
Yes.
2 teams that you could say were way ahead of schedule. Another team working on a decade of dominance. Kansas City Chiefs, and that's where we'll start, have won the division 9 years in a row, looking to go make it 10 years in a row. That'll put them right up there with the dynasties of the likes of the Patriots, New England Patriots, what they did with Tom Brady. And wouldn't you know it, they are the favorite right now. A lot of books have them at a minus 110, 120 to win this division.
Yeah, and they're one of the top 5 favorites to win all of the AFC. I mean, this is a Chiefs team that when they went back to the Super Bowl last year, everybody's making those same comparisons. Is this the Patriots of our time right now?
Everybody dogged them last year, and they proved them all wrong. And every week it was like, well, Patrick Mahomes has more interceptions than touchdowns, and this and that. It's like, yeah, but they're still winning.
Right.
They're still winning. They only had 2 losses last year.
So you could make the argument that of all these Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid Chiefs teams, that was the worst of them, and they still went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
They still beat your favorite team. Like, they are still the team to beat. And that just kind of shows you that there is a culture and a winning mentality in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kudos to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes for leading that. And, even our guy Kelsey, he even said he wasn't focused last season. He had other things on his mind.
He did? Like what?
Yeah, like he met a girl.
Oh, yeah.
He met a girl.
That singer-songwriter. Yeah, he did seem a little spaced out sometimes.
Yep, he was like a high school football player with his head in the clouds.
Well, what do you think of this year's 11.5 total wins? I feel like is this year that they're going to go under, but they punished everybody else that bet the under last year, and it made a lot of sense last year, but it didn't matter. It just feels exactly the same. Like you feel good betting Kansas City and the under on that win total, but here they come. They're going to win 13 games again.
That's 11.5 is a lot of wins.
It is,
and the favorite is the under at -121 right now. So it's like people are feeling that. And if you look at last year's team, you kind of feel like, what have they done to get better? I mean, you look at they got Xavier Worthy, right, wide receiver, speedy pass catcher.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to help the offense, but how much? Jalen Moore, left tackle. They're trying to help the offensive line a little bit.
Yeah.
What's that going to do? John Ross, you remember John Ross of the Cincinnati Bengals back in the day?
No.
Exactly. He's one of their top offseason acquisitions at wide receiver. This is a football team that's kind of relying on the core, and financially they're probably strapped a bit too.
Yeah, and that's the biggest takeaway I've heard of how the path to them not getting there. They are really high on their draft pick that they want to slide into that left tackle spot and a set it and forget it type of talent. He's looked really good in the preseason, but injuries, aging stars, and one way or another, there's a lot of turnover on that offensive line. How's it going to look early in the season? You got to win those games early in the season to get to a win total like 12. So if I had to lean one way or another, I would like to bet the under on that, but I'm going to stay away from it because I don't want Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and those guys to prove, put egg on my face again. But I still like them winning this division.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, until somebody finally beats them, it's theirs.
All right, well, I see you're wearing a Chargers jersey over there. They are picking up a lot of bets here, not as much as the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're at a plus 300 range. A lot of books have them as a second or tied with second place here. Win total at 9.5. Got there last year, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And
Can they do it again?
You know what? This team is set up to hit the over on this. As a fan, I would just give me 10, 11, 12 even wins. We could win this division.
They had 11 wins last year.
But realistically, I'm looking at this Chargers team, and the defense has to stay healthy. Mm-hmm. Any issues there is going to be a problem. The offense, I've seen what Herbert can do with little to nothing. I like Omarion Hampton, the rookie running back, coming in because Najee Harris, the big free agent running back we got from Pittsburgh, he can't even see out of one of his eyes.
Oh, well, I heard he couldn't run the I formation. Huh?
I like it. Okay. Yeah. You should be on Laugh with me. That was good.
Okay.
I mean, he's a problem. He's not going to play Friday night. But I do like the return of Keenan Allen at wide receiver. How much does he have left in the tank? I don't know. But
find out. Can
he be a guy that Herbert can rely on? I think so. He's been a first down machine in his whole career.
Right.
But special teams never been an issue. We have one of the best kickers in the league. I don't know. I like him.
They won a lot of close games last year, and usually that goes back to the median. Okay, you won a lot last year, probably going to lose some more this year, and their schedule is going to be a little bit tougher this year. But that's how Harbaugh likes to coach.
Yes,
he likes to grind games out. He's in a lot of close games, and they're comfortable just playing with a 7-point, 10-point type of a lead.
Yeah.
So I see the path there, them hitting that over at 9.5. I like them making the playoffs this year. I just don't like them dethroning Kansas City quite yet. So let's move on to a team that has a lot of fans in our listening area, the Denver Broncos. Wow, were they so far ahead of schedule last year? Made the playoffs, finished 10-7. They, too, are at plus 300 to win the division on a lot of books.
Well, Bo Nix, he had a heck of a second half of the season. Started off kind of rocky, but he certainly finished strong, and people were pretty excited, to have him and feel like maybe he's going to make that next jump this year.
You were giving Sean Payton some praise in an earlier segment. Yeah. It looks like he found his guy.
He did.
Short order.
He found his guy and someone he's going to be able to rely on and hopefully be able to hand the rock off to J.K. Dobbins, who they brought in from the Chargers, who was there last season. So I don't know. The thing I've got that kind of bugs me about Bo Nix, he is showing it on the field, but I don't know if you heard this. He had a birthday party none of his teammates went to his birthday party. Have you heard this?
No, I haven't. But that is excellent. That is just as juicy, if not juicier, than Kelsey having a girlfriend. Right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is big time news. The defense is incredible in Denver. And when you've got a really good, strong head coach and Sean Payton he's been there long enough now to have built culture. Yeah, this is a team that a lot of people are high on.
Well, and the over right now is that plus money, plus 100. But you can see that's where it's at now with that 9.5 is what I'm seeing on a lot of books right now. It makes sense to where I could see them regress, though, where there's a lot more film now on Bo Nix. He did have a shaky start. Your schedule, like we're talking about, it's going to be a little bit tougher this year. And you put everybody on notice last year. You're not sneaking up on anybody. The Chiefs are going to take you serious. There's 2 losses. You'd like to think the Chargers, at worst, are going to split with them. So already you're making things a little difficult just within your own division. So, and everyone agrees that they were light years ahead of schedule. Like, especially how they started last year. That was so ugly.
And that's my thing. You don't have the veteran Herbert at quarterback. You've got second-year Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I do see them taking a step back. They were just way ahead last year.
Yeah, I do too. Let's take a quick minute here and talk about the Raiders. Plus 3,000 on some books to win the division. Their win projections are at 6.5, and there's heavy money coming in on the under, and I have to agree.
Yeah, I would take the under. I feel like Pete Carroll was just trying to get closer to Southern California to his glory days.
Is that what's going on there?
Yeah.
He's like, Vegas is such a cool spot, man.
Yeah.
The vibes are up in Oakland.
Wouldn't you want to retire there?
The vibes are down in Oakland, up in Las Vegas. But how wild is that? He's taking Geno Smith, and I like Geno Smith.
I do too.
And I think he's going to sling it. But I think the way this was put is this is a stabilizing move for the Raiders. So they probably will win about 6 games, maybe 5 games. And their floor has maybe been risen, but their ceiling, don't worry about it. It's still just capped securely under the Chargers, under the Chiefs, and under the Broncos now as well.
Right. And don't get it wrong, 6 wins, they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Like they're going to walk away and say, we have done what we need to do to move on to the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's just it. Like Max Crosby, go get your sacks, get those headlines there. Sell some jerseys for us. Geno Smith, please limit your turnovers and interceptions. Yeah. Right? And Pete Carroll, be that motivator guy. Try to bring us back to any kind of relevance.
He's good for the brand.
I think so, right? Like, talked about stabilizing, and it is kind of funny how we talked about how Cincinnati against Nebraska this past week, they took a big fat check to give away a home game, basically.
Yep.
On paper, it's still a home game, but not really. The Raiders kind of did that for the rest of their existence. We're just going to go to Las Vegas, get this big fat check, but never really have a home game again because it's, they bring in so many fans from across the nation every week. It doesn't really feel like a home game.
Well, yeah, they're everybody's favorite stop. The Chargers, we play in Las Vegas every single season. Why am I not there?
Right.
Like every team that has their favorite team stopping to Vegas should be going. And then they're going to host the Super Bowl probably every 3-4 years. So
looks that way.
Yeah, the money's rolling in for sure.
And money's fun. So sometimes winning money, you can't have it all, right?
Yeah.
Well, that'll about do it for us this week, everybody. For the J.O. I'm Andy Classen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.